Hello. So for this transmission, I have some things written down, and I did a little meditation and set a container before I pressed record. I do have some music on in the background if you can hear it. It's actually a subliminal, so I just wanted to make that clear. I think it says wish fulfillment, and it has a lot of ones, so it's like 111, 1111 hertz, something like that. And also on I'm staying at an apartment right now that I'm not at all the time. And when I walked in, the number 11 was on the microwave. It's still there. I personally don't use microwaves, so it will be there until I leave. But I've been seeing 1111 a lot, or 111, etc. So if you're seeing that number combination, there might be something here for you. Even if you're not, that's okay as well. Yeah. So I, like usual, I'm just going to kind of flow with what comes through. But if I'm being quite blunt, I've been a little bit hesitant to talk about some of these topics. And I've had a few dreams in the past few months that I will probably share bits of today. And I'm going to design the thumbnail for this clip to encapsulate some of the images from my dream. I'm going to do my best. And I just want to be clear, also, this is like a whole other conversation, but I do use one of those AI image creators for my YouTube thumbnails. I would love to use a real artist one day. It was just one of those situations where I kept putting off starting things because of a million different excuses. So yeah, for now, that's just what showed up for me to be able to utilize. And I just wanted to say, I really value artwork, and just felt like an important note to make, especially because today I think I'm going to actually design, when I say design, utilize that image creator to create tarot cards. So they're not going to be, I just want to put a disclaimer, they are not from anyone's deck. They were just images that came to me in dream time that I'm trying to put onto the thumbnail to capture what I felt and saw. Yeah, okay, so with that, a few things. My throat is starting to close up, so I know there's going to be something perhaps about, and I keep seeing there's this poster, I believe it's a band, The Head and the Heart, so that could be relevant for someone, but heart-brain coherence, and of course, when we're in heart-brain coherence, that channel runs through the throat. So there's something about aligning into an authentic expression, from the heart in alignment with the mental plane. And so I already feel a clearing in the throat. And right as I was opening the container to do this, I let out a very big burp, which for me is releasing energy. And not just for me, I know other people who work with energetics also release that way. I've also met people who yawn. There can be different forms of release. So maybe you're someone who is just starting to experience this and you're what is wrong with me? I totally get that. Or maybe you've been doing it for a long time and this is just a confirmation, or you're somewhere in the middle. I'm seeing blinking, someone blinking really fast. I don't know, maybe someone blinks really fast. I've never seen that, but that could be a thing. So a lot of the energy today really seems to be focused on, I kept hearing the word wholeness, like the journey back to wholeness within the self. Now, even that can be a little bit misleading. It's kind of the word I'm getting, because I know there's something that has been coming up a lot, like the healer's trap, or the healing trap, or the shadow work trap, something like that, where you like continuously feel like you need to keep improving yourself. And then, and I was actually discussing with one of my clients / she's sort of like family, like nuances, and how that is so important, of like the nuance of some of these experiences, and especially when it comes to, wholeness within the self, and then the, like, I'm trying to just feel like which wording wants to come through, because sometimes with these energetics, it can be like I'll feel it come in first, and then the words will come. Yeah, so if you want to call it like divine union, a counterpart connection, there's a lot of different terminology out there. And like with anything that comes more into the masses, there can be a lot of like distortion, and the word delusion comes up often. And I know that's like such a sensitive word, because, well, I don't really think I need to explain why. I think it's pretty obvious why that could be such a sensitive word. And for me, and like these experiences, and I've been so, again, hesitant to talk about this stuff, is because it truly is like an individual experience, yet at the same time, there's a collective energy going on as well. And then there's, if you believe in like soul groups, then there's like even soul groups within that collective that sort of like, some people call it like waves. Like we talk about like waves of ascension, or waves of unions, or different types of unions. So, or different types of contracts, or working on these different facets of ancestral karma clearing, or whatever it is that you feel connected to. So if you look at it from that perspective, I actually heard someone else say something really interesting about this. Like, if you come into this life with, let's say you are someone, and by ancestral karma clearing, it's like someone who recognizes these patterns that maybe they don't want to continue, inherited from the family lineage, and via pattern disruption, and different ways, we get to like say, hey, wait, like maybe we can do this differently. So yeah, like people call them change makers. There's all sorts of phrases now, and words and titles. And so it's really, I think about that. And when we talk about these more like counterpart union journeys, if you will, that comes up a lot. There's a lot of things to say. And like I said, I've been really hesitant to talk about this, but these dreams that have been coming through, and some of the way that it's been coming through for a long time really strongly, but and I do talk about it in like personal sessions a little bit. So yeah, I just decided to bring the conversation into this. So please bear with me while I navigate this. The other day I was walking right after I felt the call to share this one dream that I had. And it was about the Four of Wands in tarot, which sounds really silly, but the wands in general in tarot can represent fire energy. And I'm reading this, actually I was guided to read something, the spiritual level of consciousness and what's important to a person's core being. Wands cards can address a person's personality, ego, enthusiasm, self-concept, and personal energy. And like creativity, passion, there's different different themes. Anyway, so the Four of Wands in a lot of these like unions can represent, or when I say union, these like divine counterpart experiences can represent, celebrations, marriage, the union card, 1111, because of the way it's depicted of the wands being two on either side in the traditional Rider-Waite tarot. And so in this dream that I was feeling called to share, when I was walking by a license plate, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and it said like TF and oh my God, what did it say? TF and then 11, and it was in orange, and there was like another like sign or synchronicity that was like right next to it, and I just kept feeling that dream. And I know, like, if you're here and you're listening to this, I know talking about some of the stuff like the signs and the synchronicities, and I know there's like, again, that word delusion is coming up, like a lot of this delusional energy that can just feel like, oh my God, like I feel crazy, or I feel this, or all these different, labels and things. Now, I also want to be clear, like, can that exist? I mean, like, there's a shadow and a light side to everything. And I think that's why I wanted to start this by saying like the journey to wholeness, within the self, because, and even that gets balanced in nuance, like I was saying, but there's this, like, I'm pausing because I really want to make sure that I'm this experience where we get to decide how we handle these situations, and if we continuously bring it back to, what is for our highest good. And now I'm seeing like the Judgment card in tarot, like being honest, taking inventory with what it is that you're experiencing, then it just continues to my throat is really closing up. Wow. Yeah. Excuse me. It really gets to continue to unfold in this like very nonlinear, surprising, seemingly like magical road that is full of all kinds of emotions. And I think the more we can continue to like temper and balance and feel what we need to feel, and use that discernment to not get, it's like, to really see how much resilience and strength we really have is, I don't know, it can be kind of surprising sometimes. Anyway, so this dream, I was with, it was like a feminine and masculine energy. It was myself and someone else. And of course, I think we all hold both of those energies. And if you're not familiar, there's plenty of online Google searches and different texts from many cultures that talk about the feminine and masculine energy. And for me, I always associate the left side of the body with the feminine and the right side with the masculine. And so I just felt like a left side, although sometimes it's backwards, pain in like my lower, like sciatica, I guess it's like right, the lower back, like right where the hip would start. So maybe someone's having some sort of pain there, or you are connected to someone who's having pain there. And I'm hearing the word support or like lack thereof. So maybe someone here is just feeling like a little unsupported. And like the middle of my back just kind of tensed up. So right now I think working with the movement of Kundalini, however that sees fit for you, just really like I'm seeing someone really slowly just like moving their spine. Like spinal health is really important right now to keep that energy flowing. Neck rolls, like slow neck rolls. And of course, always trust yourself in your own body and let it show you what it needs, or get any type of, if you need like assistance in that area. But I am seeing someone just participating in more movement, and I am seeing like a slower movement. So like I like to do Kundalini energy sometimes, so that might help someone, or maybe you're already doing that. Yeah. And I'm hearing Qigong for someone. And this is like a very specific message, but if someone, I know that I was going through this, I'm still kind of going through it. Like I'm trying to build back into, like I walk a lot and I do slow movement, and I'm kind of thinking about getting back into like a little bit more of intense working out. Because I feel like for a while my body I wasn't there. So if someone's going through that specifically, I'm hearing it's okay to like take it slow and build yourself back up to that. Like you don't need to just jump in and rush to maybe where you were or where you think you want to be. Just keep taking those like baby steps into that goal. Like it's nice that you have that goal for yourself, and I know that's very specific, but just in case someone needed to hear that. Okay, so back to this dream. I was in this room with that male person, masculine energy. I'm trying not to use specific pronouns, and there was like all this stuff falling around the room, like where we were. It was almost like watching like one of those like sketch cartoons. Like it kind of felt like that, where I think I'm using the right word, sketch. It wasn't in black and white, but it was very like as if when you watch like a sketch doodle, like someone drawing in real time and it's like being created. It was almost like that kind of feeling in the dream. And yeah, all this stuff, like the walls were falling apart and things were falling off the walls, and everything was like falling down around us. And the masculine energy like put his arm like around me, and we like huddled like together to keep from things falling on us. And then we like saw stairs, which I know in dreams stairs can stand for ascension. And so we like ran and started going up the stairs, and it was like it like freeze framed on us going up the stairs. And then it was like it looked like four of wands, like these wands, but they were kind of like wooden-ish. Like fell. There were like two standing from my memory, and two that like were like protecting over us, like hovering us as we walked up the stairs. It was very interesting. Yeah, and so I just paused for a moment, and it paused on 17, and then there was a number in the middle that I honestly don't remember, and then it was 71. So mirroring numbers, 1s and 7s, 17, 71. So you may be seeing 1s, 7s, mirroring numbers. 1s have been coming up a lot already in this reading, and the energy just got so fast. So if I'm speaking really fast, yeah, I just felt like a huge speed up. And so you can always, if you're not familiar, like slow down in the settings to a slower speed if you need to. Anyway, I was going to interpret the dream, but I actually been not being guided to interpret right now. So if anyone ever listens to this and you feel a connection to it, I probably will as I go on. Yeah, like feel free to share if anything there like sparked something that you'd like to share, or your interpretation. Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize I wrote down the word hip here. I've been seeing the word hip like all week, and I feel like I've been talking to people who have been having hip pain. And I think from my memory, I can look it up, but the one of the emotional connections to hip pain can be holding on to like shame and guilt, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because the hip is related, I believe, to the sacral energy. So if anyone here is having like hip discomfort, or maybe like I know some people can have like flexible hips, but for most of the energy, it feels like it's more like tightness in the hips or hip pain. Hip opening stretches. I'm hearing in my head, Hips Like Honey. I think that's like a YouTube channel where she focuses on hip opening stretches and exercises. So yeah, that could be helpful for Hellllo. I'm very tongue-tied right now. That can be very helpful for someone. And also if someone's listening to this and they've been feeling maybe a little bit of like movement with their like hormonal cycles and their, if you're a feminine and you are a female and you still menstruate, there's something about like actually, full disclosure, if you don't want to hear this, you can skip over, but my cycle has been like 21 to 24 days ish for like as long as I can remember. And this month, and I think I posted a reading like a month or two ago saying that the cycles are shifting, and like it's already for me like at 27 days, and that I haven't had that, and like I literally don't remember. It's been so many years, if ever. So yeah, there's like this like really big cyclical change. So if you're going through that as well, I just wanted to mention that. And there, or maybe you're connected to someone, if you don't menstruate, who's going through that. Yeah, so there is something also about, there's a lot of like body stuff coming through. Give me a moment, because yeah, like if you're feeling also maybe a little uninspired, a little like loss of pleasure type of thing. I actually know that I've been feeling some of these intermittent experiences of like not feeling as motivated, and I've been really feeling like I need to rest a lot lately. Like going through some sort of like, I don't know, cellular like clearing and detox. Yesterday when I came out of meditation, I heard the song and I was like, I could hear it in my head, and I was like, what is this? Like I had to sit with it for a second and let the words come through. And it was a song from Hilary Duff from like a very long time ago. Let the Rain Come. You can Google it if that calls to you. But yeah, it's like cleansing. Wait, what is it? Let the rain. Let it wash away my sanity. Yeah. So, and I like, that has not been rolling around. Like I have not heard that song in years. So it just like popped in. So I felt like that wanted to come through too. So yeah, there's like this cleansing, and I know like a lot of people say that in these communities. There's just a lot of that going on right now. So, yeah, I'm just hearing in my head like cellular detox. So, roses have also been coming through, especially like pink and white roses, and blue, pink, and white. I don't know why they seem significant, but it could be really any pink, white, and blue flowers. But I am seeing like roses. I'm hearing daffodils and tulip, and peonies. But yeah, truly whatever you feel connected to. I also heard calla lily. So there's something also that I woke up today. Sometimes I'll just wake up like saying things or feeling things or hearing things. And I heard pneumite, which I know is a crystal, and I had to like look up the properties because that has not been in my like reality. I just like woke up saying pneumite. I read a lot about it earlier, but if you feel called to like work with pneumite, or the one cool fact I read about it was that it was discovered in other places in like US and I think Canada maybe, but like the original, I don't know if original is the right word, but in Greenland is where it's like the most fully formed and like potent. So I don't know why Greenland could be significant for someone. I don't even know if I personally don't know much about Greenland, but I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, so pneumite, you can look up the properties, but it was saying that it really like is known for illuminating like murkiness in anything that needs clarity. So that could be relevant for someone. And they call it the Sorcerer's Stone, I believe, and it works with like magician energy. So the magician card in tarot could also be relevant. Yeah, like just like alchemizing all this body stuff that's kind of coming up, and really like, of course, sitting with it and and releasing through. So that's why movement is so important right now to just and if this is something you've been doing for a long time, like I feel like someone saying like, oh, more, I know that feeling. I think this is really just about like refinement, fine-tuning, and really like utilizing your body and getting back in the physical body really deeply. And I think there was something about that with a pneumite, it was like talking about really grounding through like all of the energy channel, like through the spine, from the crown into the root, and like really grounding into the physical body. So that could be really helpful. And of course, if anyone wants to look up and share any of the properties from pneumite, sometimes I'll put in like metaphysical properties, spiritual properties, meaning, like pneumite meaning, or whatever the crystal is in the meaning. Feel free to share. That's all that's coming through for that right now. And I woke up saying pneumite and fehu. And fehu, if you're not familiar, is a rune in the runic alphabet that is connected to like hard work that is blossoming into like abundance, wealth, that type of energy. So that's nice. And success I wrote down. Due to hard work and dedication. So I was talking about like roses and something blooming. So perhaps there's been some sort of like very I'm hearing like deep reconnection to the self through this hard work and dedication. And then there's just like this really nice like airy lightness. And maybe you've been listening to subliminals, because I was guided to put on a subliminal. I'm specifically seeing like the lucky girl or lucky person subliminals and magnetism. So if you're not, maybe you're being called to work with that. That might be helpful for you, unless you're already doing it. It just like, it sounded like beads or ice moving. So maybe someone here is working with beads too, like mandala beads or some sort of beads, or just like doing something with your hands that really helps like move energy through for you. I know like if I don't stretch my hands, they get very tight. So maybe someone here gets really tight hands, and working with the movement of hands. I'm actually now, you can't see me, but my hands are starting to move. Sometimes light language will come through my hands in different mudras. Maybe someone here is being called to do that, or has already been experiencing that. So if you're feeling any tension in the hands, that can really help. And then I'm hearing the word amplification. So if you're already doing this, great. And if not, you might be invited to, like, if you're doing some of these things that we're talking about, and these are just a few examples. So if there's other things related to this that you feel called to do, amplifying that intention, for the collective or collectives that you feel connected to, always for the highest good of all, of course. At least that's the way I like to do it. And it's funny because I remember Pneumite was also talking about like the properties connected to kind of like alchemizing family curses. I know that phrase is a little bit debatable, but the idea, like we were talking about earlier, breaking ancestral patterns. So yeah, working with the new, even if you don't have Pneumite physically, working with like the energetics of Pneumite could be helpful. Let's see. Oh yeah, I had another dream the other day where I was drinking something like, it was like amethyst liqueur, which sounds super cool. So if anyone like makes liqueurs somehow connected to crystals or channels in crystalline energy, I know I make like tinctures and mocktails, and I'll utilize crystals so in ways. Anyway, so there's something about that here. Maybe someone's being called to do that or is doing something similar, but yeah, amethyst can be relevant. Amethyst is, I believe, more known than Pneumite, so I think a lot of people here, if you're listening, are probably semi-familiar at least with amethyst. I know it can help people with the energy anyway, with overcoming addictions, and it works with the crown and third eye, so there could be some sort of like activation or clearing going on in that area. And we were talking about Pneumite, like releasing some like murky energy or murky illusions that are ready to kind of fall away. And amethyst, of course, representing the mind's eye, allowing you to see things through that more like, I'm hearing like crystal clear vision. Now I'm seeing 777 that I wrote down, so that could be something too. Yes, and quantum leaping. So the steps, I'm being taken back to the steps in the dream of the Four of Wands energy in the dream, and that protective energy. And as they were going up the steps, it's like they got halfway in the dream. So it's like, and this was like, I believe a few weeks ago, or maybe even a few months ago that I had this dream. So it's like we kind of went through this, when I say we, like if you're drawn to this video, you're probably in this, I don't know why I want to say in this camp. I don't usually say that, but maybe someone here says that. Or maybe camp can be connected, like somehow, maybe someone went to camp with someone, or there's something coming up about camp, in some way. So yeah, and I kept seeing the word quantum leap. That's been coming up a lot. So these stairs, they made me feel like, when it was like halfway up the stairs, there was like headed into this new, if you want to use the word timeline, that it was being like co-created by a lot of the collective that are now, making these decisions to shift these patterns. And when you do that, it creates these ripples and these new, I just made a video, I think yesterday, the day before, talking about like the idea of when we bring together the feminine and masculine qualities within us, that wholeness, the integration, like it's creating, I was talking about like Aurora re-encryption, and how it's creating this, I'll call it, for lack of a better phrase, new consciousness that's being birthed on the planet. So, so there's something about that coming through with this quantum leap energy. And I kept seeing like zeros and the Fool, in tarot, the 0 point really being all about this like potent, this potent space of like, almost like kind of like a void space where it feels like the potentials are just floating around us, and it might feel a little like disorienting in that space because of this this feeling of like, it's like you're still a little bit in between, but I feel like there's been this and I've heard a few other people talking about this too, and I was actually really hesitant to talk about it because I've been feeling it, and I'm still honestly working on taking action when I feel inspired to share on this platform, because this is very new to me. And so I just wanted to say that. And I do kind of sometimes go through that, I guess, like imposter syndrome thing when I feel something and I'm like, oh, let me just make sure. So maybe someone here is also going through that, where they're like getting something and they feel inspired, and then they're like, I don't know, maybe I should wait, or maybe someone else needs to do it, or maybe it's not my thing, or all these different things can come up. So I think this like in between space is really like giving you, I'm seeing like those bumpers on when people go bowling in a bowling alley. It's like these little bumpers, like just in case, this like little cushion space to give you a little bit of leeway as you like fully integrate and manifest into this next phase. It's like, it's not even, I don't even want to call it a next phase, because it's here, it's already happening. This is such a strange story, but I was being shown, like when I was in high school, I slept a lot in high school. The lights were so bright, and I just like, I slept. And I remember I woke up one time, and this girl that I knew, she was like, when you wake up, you look like a little rat being born. And I was like, what? Okay. But I remember like just that feeling of like waking up and the lights were being so bright, and like looking around, and I was like, oh, where am I? So there's something about that for some reason. It's like that feeling of like when something feels really new, it's like you look up, or like when a baby's born and like everything feels like very sensitive. So you might be feeling like really extra sensitive right now to like your environment, your surroundings, or maybe you've always been that way. Okay. Now I had a dream like 2 nights ago where it was like the 2 of Cups energy. I was walking around and I had these 2 swans, but they were very tiny, like handheld on my hand. I feel like they were on my left hand, but I'm not sure. And sometimes I have dreams of like animals that are talking, and they were talking to me. I honestly don't remember like what they were saying, because I it just felt so natural in the dream. Like it didn't feel like what they were saying was necessarily like of significance, at least not right now. But they were so beautiful, and they were just hanging out with me and walking around. I was walking around like while they were on my hand. And I remember there was someone in the dream who was kind of like pulling at me in a way. Like I felt like very exhausted, and I like wasn't trusting that person, and I kept like going from room to room, and I think like trying to decide like, okay, like can I do something better, or do I really need to like leave the situation right now? And I remember the swans were like peeing and pooping on my hand. They were just like freely going to the bathroom, and I was like, okay. And you know, when I thought about it when I woke up, it's like when you pee, you're clearing the kidney. You know, you're clearing that energy. Right? And then when you poop, you're eliminating the waste that your body doesn't need. So that could be relevant for someone here too. It's like this Two of Cups. It's funny because it was like on the hand. It's like it's here. You're experiencing this Two of Cups, but there's still this like release going on. And that idea of like the word, I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but the word dichotomy keeps coming up. And it's like that dichotomy of like this and that are true. And I was just also talking about this as well. Where we're feeling into this this nuance of like let me formulate that better. It's like as we continue to release what no longer serves and do whatever is best for us in that present moment, and not because I think if you're listening to this, you're probably already pretty, at least if you've gotten this far, you've probably already been experiencing a lot of these things. And if not, then like, you know, I'm here if you have any questions. I can do my best to answer. But yeah, there's something about that. So this like these swans, that always makes me think of, for some reason I was thinking of the Two of Cups in tarot, and how I'm seeing someone like having the cups, like we were talking about the head and the heart, coherence. And it's like, I'm seeing like a cup in the heart and the cup in the head. And it's like when they're both filled and flowing, it like flows through the whole body. And then there's enough of overflow where it's then flowing, you know, with another. So I think, and I know this has been a collective energy. Like I said, like I've heard quite a few people talk about this. Like there seems like for the people who are attracted to this type of soul experience to have like a counterpart experience, that there is like some movement and flow in like the emotional body that's starting to show up in your material world. And I know it's really difficult to continue like releasing outcomes and expectations, and to continue really just showing up for what's best for you in that moment, and releasing and continuing to release. And I'm feeling like it's not as big of a like, oh, okay, I need to sit down and release. It's like you've probably already been doing that. It's more just, again, that like fine tuning and deepening that trust and continuing on that experience, and simultaneously like experiencing the newness, like all this newness coming in. And again, that like lucky, it's not really lucky because you've put in all of the energetics and the like the Fehu rune says, like that hard work and dedication. And now there's like wealth, abundance, success coming in. And you know, the wands was coming out too. So it's like in that spiritual consciousness, in your creativity, in your passions, it's like there's multiple areas of life that are starting to like overflow. I'm hearing, what's that like Shakespearean, like runneth cuppeth filleth over. That's so wrong, but I think if anyone knows that, please put it in the comments. I can't remember right now, but I think you know what I mean. So maybe Shakespeare is relevant for someone. I believe my name is Jessica, and I think it was developed from William Shakespeare. I think he came up, or at least that was like one of the first times it was like written. So yeah, I don't know why I'm sharing that. Maybe someone here is like curious about their name, like looking up your name meaning, like your first name, maybe your middle name, your last name, all of it. Or maybe you've already done that, but yeah, there's something about like name meaning here. I took a pause for a moment, and I just wanted to feel into anything else that may want to come through. And I noticed there are 3 like wooden birds next to where I am, so birds could be significant. And specifically red cardinals and like the male cardinal. And I'm hearing like a blue robin, and I'm seeing another blue bird. Also, I was walking yesterday. I'm watching a dog right now, and I was walking a dog, and he I'm in Florida right now, and this could be really common in Florida. I just have no idea. I've never seen this before. I was walking next to like a river, like canal thing, and there was like this huge, it kind of looked like a crab that was like going into one of the crevices in the cement. It had these it was really big though. When I say really big, I don't know why I'm sharing this, but I'm feeling, I haven't looked up the crab spiritual meaning, but Cancer, someone here could be a Cancer or connected to that Cancerian energy. Or I'm also specifically getting like Chiron in Cancer, maybe North Node, but there's something about South Node. There's something about Cancerian energy in the crab, because this crab was it just looks so out of place for me and so big. So yeah, I know Cancerian energy represents, I believe, the mother, and I think it rules the 4th house, which is all about home life. So yeah, these things can be coming up right now to be looked at. And again, 4 of Wands is all about celebrations and I believe weddings. Yeah, so maybe someone here is going to a wedding, or but I'm more feeling it's a celebration that is coming up. I'm hearing a milestone of some sort. And I was saying this morning or last night, I was talking about how right now it's really not as much more, it's not as much of a time that feels of predicting of what's going to happen. And I've noticed this in the collective too, where it's more about really truly fine-tuning your own intuitive connection and your own your own path of self-mastery and unconditional, anchoring in the unconditional love template, and really bringing that back to yourself, and then just allowing, and this is for people who are drawn to this. I'm not saying this is every single person, but this is the energy that I feel I'm reading for, of really being true to yourself and what feels good for you. And sometimes that doesn't always look pretty, I'm seeing the Queen of Swords in tarot, where she can that energy can be very needing to instill some boundaries. And there's also the simultaneous softening too, where maybe allowing yourself to be more soft, because you have instilled that foundation for yourself of feeling safe. And I've been hearing a lot of people talk about how feeling safe, how do I want to say this? In this specific frequency transmission that's coming through right now, it feels creating that safety within yourself, of course, will continue building those foundations. And like I said, that fine-tuning and the word micro shifts keeps coming through, allowing these micro shifts for those who have really worked on their foundation. It's now it's these little micro shifts in the present moment that may come up, but really these new foundations, again, that quantum leap into this new foundation has been pretty set. So it's now just continuing to co-create with that and through that, and trusting in that, because again, it's less about knowing the how or the why and the what all the time, but really just being open and trusting and putting yourself in that receiving mode, balanced with that inspired action. So that is really what's coming through right now. And it does feel I was saying this earlier to someone, there's this really exciting, light-hearted, surprise energy. I feel there is a surprise coming, and I know that sounds a little oh, okay, that's easy to say, but I really do feel that. I don't know that I'm supposed to go too deeply into this because, and it does kind of feel connected to the element of like self-love, which then spills into like an external situation. If you're already in a relationship, you know, you can still be surprised. It doesn't have to be just for people who are single. But yeah, I do. I really feel that. It's like this, like white, golden, and bronze. I feel like those are the colors I wanted to use actually for the thumbnail. I started creating it. It's like, yeah, this just like shimmery feeling. Like I feel maybe someone here like wants to like wear more shimmery things, and they like are kind of talking them. See how tongue-tied I'm getting? Talking themselves. It's like I can't form English words. They are talking themselves out of it. Yeah, and I'm just like so giggly. Like there's something about just like, I was saying this last night too, like just really embracing these, like I'm hearing like giggle spells. Like if you're feeling like you get these like giggles moments, or you're just like, more of that is coming. Like that is what is part of this surprise energy. I mean, if you're already experiencing this, great, but I think it's going to amplify. And yeah, I'm hearing like wear that shimmer, or like, you know, maybe put on that one thing that you're like, oh, I'm just gonna save that for something else. Like, you know, I'm hearing like it's okay to create an opportunity to like really embrace those aspects of yourself. And of course, it doesn't have to be something about that you're wearing. That's just an example. Yeah, like maybe someone here wants to put on some like shimmering eyeshadow. I mean, maybe you're a man, you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, I kind of want to wear something shimmery too. Like, yeah, it doesn't matter what sex you are. It's just an expression. There's something else. I think I'm hearing like the word synopsis. Like, okay, we talked about movement and the physical body, and opening up that Kundalini flow and creative energy. Working through the spine and the hips and the back. Utilizing new might, if you feel so called to, or reading about it. I was just trying to reach for something, and it was like a little bit out of reach, and on the second pull that I like stretched my arm out, it came to me so easily. So, and now I'm hearing Aaliyah, at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. Yeah, so there might have been something that just felt a little bit out of reach, or something that it might still feel a little bit out of reach. Each of you will be like in a different space with this. But coming at something maybe from like a new perspective, or either you have been or will be doing this. Because again, that new might was talking about seeing through illusions and like murky water, or murky energy. Yeah, and it's like that second time when I went to grab for it, it was like so easy, and I was like, oh, why was I not positioning myself properly? So yeah, there's something about that, something that is or was out of reach just a little bit, might be much more accessible. I heard the second time, and then I heard like the seventh time. So yeah, it doesn't literally have to be the second time, but that's just what I was receiving. Okay, I'm just gonna look here and see. I don't feel too much more. Actually, I thought I was gonna have a lot more to say. I think I will at some point, but for now, oh yeah, the octopus kept coming up, and the idea of the chromatophores, and how like the octopi or octopus can like change its color on its skin due to these chromatophores, and like it's so amazing. I feel like I'm not doing it justice to explain how intelligent they have, like multiple hearts and like nervous systems that they operate like simultaneously, and it's really cool. So yeah, maybe looking more into the octopus and its abilities or its spiritual meaning might be helpful. Maybe you've been seeing them. Yeah, and there's something about that, like all of their tentacles and how they're able to, you know, if one gets cut off, I believe it can be rejuvenated. So there's so much of that energy of like releasing and rejuvenation, and then utilizing, you know, all like how they have you see, I'm hearing the phrase like, or the word central nervous system. So maybe someone here is needing some like care in that area, or maybe you've been focusing on that, and I'm hearing it's paying off if you are, or if you start, it will, by really calming down the nervous system and like going at your own inner rhythms and cycles. And there's something about the octopus, like I'm seeing it as like a control center and like the central nervous system, or the center of the octopus, and like, one that is in maybe like trying to get away or in fight or flight, and then one that is like has all the space to be free, and how it can use all of its tentacles in a balanced way, and moving through the world like very like stealthy and seamlessly. So there's something about like maybe you're someone who can handle a lot of bandwidth, like you can put all of your tentacles and multitask, and then maybe I'm hearing just to like check in with that, like even if you are able to do that, it's like you don't always have to be doing that type of thing, but like really like balancing out all of those areas in a way that feels good for you. And again, this will be different for everyone, so maybe you are already doing this, or maybe this is something you're being called to step into, or you could be somewhere in the middle. But yeah, I really actually feel like I was talking the other day about 3 a.m. wake-up calls, and or like the witching hour wake-up calls. So that could be happening here too. Maybe you are, and again, if you're here, I do most likely feel like you've been through these before, but if not, that's totally okay too. Let me see if I'll get anything connected to I'm really just hearing the word recalibration. So if you feel like you've been waking up around these times, and if there's any frustration around it, like some people, like when I do it, I'm just like, oh, okay. Like I've gotten used to it and I just embrace it. But if you're still feeling like, if you have to like get up for work, or you are like, I'm exhausted, I'm hearing you can like do your best to set an intention, to ask that whatever that's happening, the recalibration, to just be done in your sleep time and not to like interrupt and wake you up. Like set your intention to have a deeper sleep. But then, there may be like, I'm hearing like then carve out a time, even if it's just a few minutes, where you can like let yourself be really still and just feel if anything is trying to come through your direct line, your intuitive connection. To like deepen your own channel. And that's something that I've been really wanting to create things around, to like, no matter where you're at, like to really have these conversations and talk about deepening our own channel, to, if you want to call it like the unseen realms, but once you're deeper into it, they're not so unseen anymore. So, So if that's something you're interested in, please comment. I'm in the middle of creating a Patreon, and I think I might start sharing content about that. So just something I've been thinking of, and very slowly creating. But if you got this far, thank you for listening. And if you have like anything to say, like I said, feel free to share. And I do feel like there's so much more to talk about on this topic, but I think since this is my first time kind of like talking about it, I'm just going to leave it here, and then, because I'm not really feeling anything in the moment right now. But like I said, if there's something you're curious about or want to talk about more, please feel free to share it, and I will see what comes through on that. All right. Thank you.